We're still inside the Goblin King's throne tent, and it's absolute chaos. Lava Turtle is at the front, mouth wide open, spewing a pillar of molten fire straight toward the Goblin King's platform. The whole tent turns orange. Goblins rush in with shields, trying to block the damage, numbers flying everywhere as the floor literally melts. Rakshasa watches the health bars and grits his teeth. The Goblin King's defense is too high, his minions keep blocking, and even with all his summons, this fight is turning into a war of attrition. He's just about to consider pulling his units back when something slices through the battlefield. A figure drops from above, heel aimed straight at his head. He yanks the attacker down, and the hood falls back. It's him. The purple-cloaked archer from earlier. The guy who pretended to be friendly. The one who lured other players toward the boss. Rakshasa's eyes go ice blue and furious. It's you. You're the one who caused that mess outside. The archer doesn't even deny it. He smirks, arrogant, explaining in that this is just how the game works tone. In demon territory, only one team gets the clear rewards. The others, expendable. Then he goes for the jugular. He orders his own pet goblin to strike. And in the next panel, Rakshasa's freshly captured goblin tank gets cut down by the Goblin King. A red system window flashes. His pet goblin has died. The archer laughs, thinking Rakshasa will panic now that he's lost a summon so quickly. But Rakshasa just narrows his eyes. Instead of retreating, he pulls out a different card. Venom Spider. Web attack. His poison spider launches a huge net of sticky webbing across the battlefield. The archer dodges with a flash step movement skill, sneering that Rakshasa is too naive if he thinks he can be caught that easily. That's when the layout of the tent finally clicks. Rakshasa wasn't trying to hit him. He recalls some of his summons with a wave. My babies, return. Then repositions them, funneling both the Goblin King and the archer toward the same zone. A little kill box, right in front of the enraged boss. Now, when the Goblin King charges, axes roaring with purple lightning, the archer suddenly finds himself trapped between rampaging boss and sticky-webbed ground. The king swings. Huge red damage numbers explode, some on the archer, some on the king. The archer howls, body half broken, realizing Rakshasa is using the boss itself to do the dirty work. Cornered, he activates his trump card, a stealth Josh movement art. His body blurs, his outline fades, and in the next panel he's gone. Or so he thinks. He laughs to himself, convinced Rakshasa can't hit what he can't see. If he can just slip away now, he'll grind back up and hunt this masked summoner later. Rakshasa doesn't chase. He reaches into his cloak. As expected, Rakshasa mutters, "You're not invisible to everything." The archer's confidence instantly shatters. How did that brat see me? Before he can run, Venom Spider fires again. Webbing lashes out and pins him in place. Arms tangled, legs stuck, no way to dodge. Behind him, the Goblin King is still berserk. One more wild swing, and this time, the archer takes the brunt of it. His HP plummets in huge chunks. His summons dive into formation, and he pulls everything into one final, perfectly timed play. The last spread of the chapter shows him standing in front of the Goblin King, Lava Turtle, Dark Shadow Wolf, the Poison Spider, and a new goblin lineup all materializing around him in a tight ring. Blue hex panels rain down as he issues the final command. You reap what you sow. Come out. It's our turn to act now. And that brings Chapter 19 to a brutal, adrenaline-soaked close. What began as a chaotic boss fight spiraled into something far more dangerous. A clash not just against the Goblin King, but against human greed, betrayal, and the lengths people will go to secure victory. Rakshasa didn't just survive the ambush. He exposed the truth behind the archer's cruelty, dismantled his schemes, and turned both the battlefield and the boss itself into weapons against him. But this fight isn't over yet. The Goblin King's killing blow is locked in. Rakshasa's summons have formed their final formation, and the traitor is trapped between the two, like prey boxed in by predators. One more command, one more breath, and everything will explode into the decisive finale. Next chapter, we'll see whether Rakshasa's strategy seals the victory, or whether the Goblin King still has a few deadly surprises left. Stay sharp. The real execution begins now. The battlefield is a scorched wasteland. Magic orbs and loot glitter across the Goblin King's camp like fallen stars. Zhangze sits casually in the middle of it all, cloak fluttering, completely unfazed, as if he didn't just come out of a life-or-death war. He bends down and picks up a sleek, enchanted longbow from the pile. As he inspects it, a translucent status panel appears in front of him. Extra attack power, increased strength, great range. Zhang Ze lets out a small smirk and says to himself, almost teasingly, "Not bad. Increases my attack quite a bit. Let's see how you handle this, your majesty." He rises to his feet, draws the bowstring back, and releases. The arrow shoots forward like a beam of light, slamming directly into the Goblin King in the distance. The boss staggers, but only slightly, still filled with rage. Zhang Ze clicks his tongue and admits the damage is a bit embarrassing. The Goblin King suddenly roars. Purple energy erupts around his massive greatsword as he unleashes a deadly skill. With a violent spin, he transforms into a whirlwind, purple blades flashing in every direction. The whirlwind tears through Zhang Ze's goblin warriors. 278, 287, 231, 218. Summon after summon is shredded. Zhang Ze's eyes widen as he sees the damage. A berserker-type skill. This boss is far more dangerous than he expected. The Goblin King laughs like a maniac in the swirling storm, calling Zhang Ze's summons nothing more than ants that deserve to die. More of his creatures fall apart under the violent storm of blades. Zhang Ze leaps backward, cloak snapping behind him as he retreats. He thinks quickly. He can't fight this thing head on. He needs distance. He needs control. He thrusts his hand forward and commands his poison spider to fire its web. The spider launches glowing strands of sticky webbing toward the Goblin King. The boss slashes wildly, cutting several strands, but the web still wraps around his arms and legs, slowing him, dragging down the momentum of the whirlwind. The deadly spin finally begins to lose power. Zhang Ze waves his arm sharply, signaling all his monsters. He orders every summon to stay away from close combat. Only long-range attacks from this point on. The Devour Heaven Frog opens its gigantic mouth. Zhang Ze shouts for it to release its breath attack at maximum output. A massive torrent of fire erupts from the frog's mouth, flooding the battlefield and engulfing the Goblin King. Spears, arrows, magical blasts. All of Zhang Ze's summons bombard the immobilized boss at once. Red damage numbers stack rapidly above the Goblin King's head. He roars in frustration, unable to reach Zhang Ze through the thick webbing. A small chuckle escapes Zhang Ze. "Now you can't do anything, can you?" The firestorm explodes into a brilliant inferno. When the smoke finally clears, the Goblin King is barely standing, charred, shaking, and on the verge of collapse. Zhang Ze lifts his hand calmly and gives the final command to finish it. A final rain of fire, blades, and magic slams down. The boss's health bar hits 0%. The Goblin King collapses with a thunderous crash. Loot orbs spill out across the ground. The Devour Heaven Frog bounces happily, celebrating the victory, while Zhang Ze finally exhales in relief. Behind the Goblin King's throne, the stone wall begins to tremble. A hidden teleport gate unfolds from within the statue, a swirling vortex revealing the exit he never found earlier. Zhang Ze mutters that it finally makes sense. The exit was hidden in the boss room all along. Among the loot, a large green magic soul orb floats in front of him, glowing strongly. He picks it up, eyes brightening. As expected of a boss drop, this is a high-rank magic soul orb. He grabs the green orb, and a blue one for good measure. Zhang Ze lifts the green orb, and summoning energy wraps around the Goblin King's corpse. With a confident tone, he tells the fallen king to stop pretending to be dead and stand up. The corpse breaks apart like shattered data and reforms. The Goblin King stands again, but this time with glowing red submissive eyes. Zhang Ze grins up at the towering creature, pleased. He remarks that the Goblin King was unbelievably hard to kill. He sacrificed so many summons just to take him down. But now the king is his loyal underling. He laughs loudly as the beast list window opens. Dark Shadow Wolf, Devour Heaven Frog, and now the Goblin King. 3 boss-class summons in golden frames. Zhang Ze scrolls through his interface, calculating his next steps. 3 boss-class summons already, and 5 empty slots left. He plans to recruit 3 Goblin Warriors and 2 Goblin Mages next, to round out his formation perfectly. But first, he needs to reach floor 4 before the boss respawns. A shout blasts across the room. "Stop right there!" A man with a tall pompadour haircut and reflective sunglasses slams down in front of him. He wears a green uniform with a golden badge, the emblem of the Demon Territory Management Bureau. He points his sword directly at Zhang Ze and commands him to put down his weapon and surrender immediately. Zhang Ze frowns, confused. Why are they acting like he's a criminal? The officer steps closer, glaring, and demands to know where the adventurers in Zhang Ze's team went. Zhang Ze tells him flatly that he doesn't even have a team. The officer must have the wrong person. But the officer cuts him off, furious, accusing him of being the notorious scammer who pretends to help newbies fight bosses, only to push them forward as meat shields and steal the loot when they die. He claims this scammer has already caused over 100 casualties and is responsible for 3 major cases in a single year. The agents around tighten their weapons. To them, Zhang Ze looks like the perfect culprit, masked, alone, covered in loot. The officer points his sword at Zhang Ze. From now on, he says, Zhang Ze is the prime suspect. Zhang Ze stands silently, expression calm, though internally, he already thinks all of these people are complete idiots. The officer raises his sword once more and shouts that if Zhang Ze doesn't surrender, they will take him down by force. Zhang Ze sighs, the exhausted sigh of someone who is constantly interrupted by stupidity. The chapter ends with Zhang Ze standing in the center of a terrified crowd, swords aimed at him from every direction, even though everyone watching knows he could flatten them in 2 seconds if he really wanted to. So here's the real question. How do you clear your name when your power alone makes everyone assume you're guilty? Zhang Ze is about to face a new kind of threat. Not monsters, not bosses, but human stupidity. And judging by that final standoff, next chapter is not going to end peacefully. Stay tuned. The misunderstanding arc has officially begun. Zhang Ze stands exactly where we left him, dead center in the teleport arrival hall, surrounded by dozens of armed adventurers. Every bowstring is drawn, blades are raised, one archer's arrow is practically kissing his mask. The female officer snarls. You're the prime suspect of the Demon Territory fraud case. Put down your weapon or we will attack. Zhang Ze lifts his hands calmly, unfazed by the killing intent around him. He thinks, they're seriously treating me like a criminal? If I fight back, things will get messy. If I surrender, they'll still cause trouble. He lets out a long breath. His luck today is horrible. Just when the tension is seconds from snapping. A voice cuts through the crowd. Wait! Everyone turns. A bespectacled young man in a blue and white inspector's uniform walks in with calm authority and a little too much confidence. Zhang Ze recognizes him immediately. It's you? The man grins. Brother Rakshasa. What a coincidence. We meet again. The reaction around them is instant. Chief! All the inspectors salute respectfully. Zhang Ze raises an eyebrow. Chief, weren't you just a low-level inspector before? When did that happen? The young chief laughs awkwardly. Haha. Thanks to you, actually. After you helped me solve that last case, I got promoted. He beams with pride. Zhang Ze shrugs. You don't need to thank me. I only did what I had to. The surrounding inspectors look confused. One asks nervously, Chief, if Rakshasa isn't the criminal, then who is? The chief adjusts his glasses. Gets serious. Everyone listen. Rakshasa is my good friend. I believe in him completely. The real criminal who tricked the newbie adventurers is someone called Death Kiss. Murmurs erupt around the hall. Zhang Ze's eyes narrow slightly. He remembers the purple-cloaked assassin he killed. The chief continues, We found the bodies of the newbies. All dead by the time we arrived. Shock hits the crowd like a slap. What? All died? The chief clenches his fist. This is another case with over 100 casualties. Death Kiss is truly evil. Zhang Ze steps forward and says it bluntly. I'm afraid you won't be able to find him ever again. Everyone stiffens. Why? Zhang Ze gives the simplest answer in the world. Because I already killed him. The entire hall freezes. The inspectors stare. One of them stammers, But Death Kiss is an S-rank talent user. A high-level veteran. A ruthless assassin. Are you sure you killed him? Zhang Ze doesn't bother arguing. He pulls up his transparent system window and rotates it for everyone to see. Kill list. Goblin Mage. Death Kiss. Goblin Mage. Goblin Warrior. Goblin Warrior. The room erupts. He really killed Death Kiss? A newbie who just reached floor 3? Killed a veteran assassin? He even fought him alone. The Pompadour officer stares at Zhang Ze like he's a monster. The chief pats Zhang Ze's shoulder proudly. Brother Rakshasa, you're truly amazing. Thank you for eliminating such a dangerous criminal. Zhang Ze waves it off. I only did what was necessary. Zhang Ze begins walking toward the teleport gate. If nothing else, I'll take my leave. But the chief shouts, Wait, Brother Rakshasa, there's something you need to know. Zhang Ze pauses. The chief's expression darkens. Death Kiss was part of a very dangerous group in Demon Territory. They call themselves Hope. An ironic name for a terrifying organization. Panels show shadowy figures, glowing green eyes, and masked killers. The chief explains, Don't be fooled by the name. Kidnapping, robbery, Assassination, they've done every crime imaginable. We've been investigating them for a long time, but they're extremely cunning and powerful. His voice hardens. You killed one of their members. Now, the others might target you. The officers gasp. Some adventurers back away from Zhang Ze instinctively. Zhang Ze touches his chin. Thoughtful. Hope, huh? The chief steps forward earnestly. For your safety, I suggest you join the Demon Territory Management Bureau. The offer hangs in the air. Zhang Ze smiles lightly. I'll have to decline. But don't worry, I'll remember the name. And I'll be careful. He steps into the teleport gate. The chief watches him go, clenching his fist. Just you wait. One day, I'll make you join us. A beam of light shoots upward, the entrance to Demon Territory Floor 4. Zhang Ze arrives and immediately notices something is wrong. A massive shimmering barrier dome covers the entire floor. Adventurers stand in groups, shouting angrily. What's going on? Zhang Ze wonders. Inspectors are stationed around the dome, preventing people from entering deeper. One explains, boss monsters on floor 4 suddenly went berserk. Their difficulty has risen to floor 10 level. Another adventurer yells, why should we believe you? Let us in. We want to leave. The inspector sighs. If you really want to risk it, we won't stop you, but you'll face the consequences yourself. More shouting. This is a scam. Floor 4 is monopolizing the drops. We protest. Zhang Ze watches quietly. Death Territory. Is it related to this? The chief appears again, cloak fluttering with urgency. Our bureau aims to keep balance between Demon Territory layers. But yes, Floor 4 has indeed produced a Death Territory gate recently. Many adventurers tried entering it. Almost none have returned. The chapter ends on Zhang Ze's calm, unreadable stare as he observes the barrier dome and the chaos around him. The threats are evolving. The enemies are getting stronger, and a criminal organization now knows his name. And chapter 21 ends not with a fight, but with a warning. Zhang Ze clears his name in seconds, shuts down the accusation, and shocks everyone by revealing he personally killed Death Kiss, an S-rank veteran assassin. The hall goes from hostile to stunned admiration. But the real threat emerges next. Hope, a hidden criminal organization tied to murders, kidnappings, and now the chaos on floor 4. And worse, Death Territory has appeared. Monsters are berserk. The difficulty has jumped to floor 10 levels. Adventurers are panicking, and the Bureau is barely holding the crowd back. While everyone argues and panics, Zhang Ze simply watches the glowing barrier, calm as ever. Death Territory. Interesting. He knows danger is coming. He knows Hope might target him next. And he's still ready to walk forward. Because for someone like him, this isn't a threat. It's the next step. Get ready. Chapter 22 is where the real danger begins. If you enjoyed this recap, hit that like button, subscribe, and please leave a comment as it will help me with the engagement so I can make more recaps just for you, and don't miss the next chapter. This story is about to get wild.